What's up guys, I'm Taylor with TK Disc Golf and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're taking the Eclipse Tempo and comparing it to Big Jerm's AviarX3, previously from Innova. That was his signature disc there and his bread and butter for like forehands and approach shots. He's been loving the Tempo so far from all the media that I've been seeing him put out. So we're gonna put the two head to head, see how they do. I will say that I'm on Team MVP, but I have no problem giving a comparison between two discs, especially when it's coming from Big Jerm's switch from Innova to MVP. A lot of his fans are gonna be following him. So if you're a fan of the AviarX3, this will be a perfect video for you to see the differences and similarities between the two. Hole one's 245 feet. I'd say it plays more like 230 or so. Straight ahead to the left, perfectly set up for some slightly overstable discs. I'm gonna try the Tempo first. Oh, that's golden. Gonna fade out a little early. Hopefully it doesn't go down the hill. It checked up. So we're gonna try the AviarX3. First time ever throwing one. This is a nice neon green color. A lot deeper in the hand than the Tempo. And it's a slower speed, so I'm gonna try to give it a full rip to get it all the way down the fairway. Hopefully we hit the gap nice. Oh, little flutter with that deep rim coming out of the hand, trying to rip on it. A lot slower, so didn't go as far as the Tempo. Thankfully we checked up nicely, about a 20-foot putt. We're gonna give the Aviar a putt first, and if we miss, go to the Tempo, but it's close enough. Not an issue at all. Honestly, I like the deeper rim for putting. If you putt with overstable discs, maybe the AviarX3 is good for you, but I putt with pixels, so putting with this thinner profile is gonna be tricky for me, but we're gonna give them both an equal amount of reps and see how they do. Hole number two is about 200 feet, maybe slightly less. Hyzer to the left, perfectly set up for two overstable putters. We're gonna try the AviarX3 first, and a little bit of hyzer just to ensure it gets around the corner nicely. Oh, pulled it right. Get lucky. Somehow got lucky on that right side, and I've got a putt. Now let's try the Tempo, see if we can hug that inside a little bit. Not too much though, but pulling it right like that was definitely flirting with the right too much. There we go, perfect. In the basket. Dude, that's underneath the pin. Like, no joke. Underneath the pin. Obviously, I'd take either of these shots. This one's like 18 feet away, but the Tempo, that's so stinking close. Like it literally hit like right here. I think there's like a mark in the mud right where my disc hit, and that would have been such a sick ace. Hole three is 250 uphill, and I'm gonna do my best to not fall in this slick rubber tee pad again. My range video that I filmed before this absolutely ate it and thankfully made it up the hill. But we're gonna go Tempo first. It's a very hard hole. It's a two-shot hole with putters. It needs a driver on a flex forehand to even remotely come close to getting up there for a birdie chance. That was golden. A little lucky on that right side, but skipped forward, which is good. I don't know if I can do much better with the Aviar being so much slower than the Tempo, and then this deep rim has already thrown me for a loop. Ton of flutter. I mean, you can blame my form for not wanting to let go of such a deep rim, but the MVP putter on their driver putters, that is, just feels so much more comfortable for my hands and my release. Now, obviously, don't take that as too much criticism. I know some people like deeper putters. It really just comes down to preference. That's why there's so many different molds that fly overstable. It's not just MVP, it's not just Innova. Everybody has a variety of different shapes, not just for their stabilities, but for hand feel as well. And for me, I like the lower profile putter, so that's why I like the Tempos and the NVs off the tee. Versus this Aviar, I don't like throwing pixels off the tee, never like throwing ions off the tee. It's always been about that lower profile for me. Thankfully, the forward skip on that Tempo got me way closer than I thought I was gonna get. We're gonna try this Aviar first on a, come on, swing in. Little long, not used to hyzer putting. Come on. That would've been sick. But yeah, I'm used to throwing those glidey pixels just straight at it. Swinging them out on hyzer is kind of hard. Hole four is 100% made up for a forehand. About 240 feet to the right. Tempo is gonna feel super comfortable to me. The AviarX3 is gonna be a little tricky. So we're gonna go AviarX3 first. I think I threw the Tempo first last time. So we're trying to do alternating. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to forehand this at all, but we're gonna try it. That is too inside. Held the angle nice, but that is way too inside. Let's give the Tempo a real run. It also helps that I know the Tempo a lot more. I know what it can handle versus AviarX3. I'm still trying to learn it. I've literally never thrown one before. See, like I know the Tempo so much better. and I knew it was gonna get right up to the basket. Literally, it just got a forward roll underneath it. Insane. I feel like that was like the least fair comparison of two discs on a forehand, considering one, I've never thrown the Aviar before, or especially the X3 model on a forehand, but then the Tempo I bag regularly, so I know exactly how to throw it, how much flatness, how hard, and I just know what it can handle. So I know people like forehanding these a lot, but like I've said already, it's the deeper profile for me. I feel like I get a much cleaner release out of the Tempo being a lot thinner. So we'll move on to hole 5. Hole 5's 250 straight ahead and then dogleg left. Perfectly set up for 2 overstable putters. Gonna go Tempo first this time. And honestly, I think that's what I normally throw in this hole anyway. So the comparison is definitely stacked against the Aviar so far. Little short, but it skipped up nicely. I didn't want to throw it too hard and rocket past the basket with a 4-speed. This one being a 3-speed, in theory, I should be able to give it pretty much full power from this distance and trust it's not going to go long. That one came out clean. Nice skip forward. I think I actually got the better shot with the Aviar that time. Underpowered the Tempo a lot on that one. The Aviar, I was able to give it a full sensies and got all the way within like 12 feet. So ideal spot for this disc. If Jerm is looking to use the Tempo as his AviarX3 replacement, I think that may be his struggle potentially early on, is powering down on the Tempo. It is a 4-speed, so it's a lot faster. So for him, he's gonna really have to control the distance a little bit with this disc. He could go with like something like a stabilizer, or if they actually had an overstable watt-ohm speed, that would be amazing, but they don't have that yet. So for now, Tempo is the bread and butter. It's a lot more versatile, I think, because you can get the extra distance out of it with a little bit of self-control. It can do all the same shots this one can. I just noticed that I forgot to charge my battery last night, so my camera's at 18 minutes left of life, so we're gonna have to really hurry up these next 4 holes. We've got 230 feet straight away. Again, super easy with a overstable putter to just rip one straight at it and see what happens. Pulled it very right. Don't hit that tree. Unfortunately, did not get the forward skip, so now we're gonna have to do some work with the Tempo, which honestly, a little bit faster, will for sure get it there in the headwind. Very low, come on. Threw those very low. I don't know why I thought throwing the Tempo on a hyzer was a good idea, but thankfully the AviarX3 got me at least close enough. For a putt, wow. I'm actually kind of liking putting with the AviarX3 because it's a lot more familiar to me. The Pixel, like I said, has that deeper rim feel, so this one feels comfortable, but I just know it's gonna be stable, so I gotta leave it a little bit right and swing it in on some of these longer putts, but so far, at least liking it for putting. Hole 7's about 150-ish. There's a lot of ice and water that you can probably hear on the tee pad, so very, very tricky upshot to try to get parked, but we're gonna try not to slip and die. That's the main goal here. Off the tree, off 2 trees and under the basket. Are you kidding me? That was such a bad throw. So inside, but it clipped the 1 tree, clipped the base of the 2nd tree, forward roll, and it's literally leaning under the basket, I think. But we're gonna try the AviarX3, give it a much fairer try this time, knowing that it can handle a little bit of power. I don't have to throw it on a hyzer or nothing, or too much hyzer. I'm gonna try from this end of the pad. Sorry if I'm blocking the shot real fast. Short of the last cluster of trees, but thankfully the Tempo turned out all right. Like I said, the AviarX3 landed short. There's a big cluster of trees right here, but the Tempo got a forward roll after 2 kicks and gave me the birdie. So it wasn't pretty, but it was more the release. It wasn't the disc. It was a good angle of the Tempo. I just left it a little inside. Hole number 8's about 340-ish feet straight ahead. I didn't look at the T sign before saying that, but it looks about that. Unfortunately, this is a straight up headwind, which is going to be really tricky for the deep rim of this. It's going to come out a little wobbly, I think, out of my hand. But hopefully this overstability of this Aviar is enough to fight it. Gave it a little bit of a turn, some height. It's not like too overstable. It flew about 260, 270, which is honestly not too bad for me on a 3-speed low glide putter. The Tempo is definitely going to outdrive this as long as I throw it right. Gotta get some mud off of it first. Oh, that fights out of it good. out to the left, but definitely outdrove the Aviar. Now the Aviar was definitely a bit shorter than the Tempo, but these approach shots are absolutely nothing. Maybe 80 feet, something like that. Ah, too high. Definitely got some stability to it. I feel like the Tempo's flying slightly more overstable. But onto the final hole, hole 9 is 260 feet, and it doesn't really set up too well for an overstable putter unless you got that long flexing shot. I'm gonna try to hug the right side a little bit and put a little flex on them. But overall, if I can get anywhere near the basket, that'd be good for me, just because I like on the overstable stuff a long swinging in hyzer line, and that's really not available here. You gotta throw super straight with overstable, a little bit of technical shot. Oh, beautiful turn shot. It's hooking up late. I think I'm inside the circle. A tree saved me from going too far in the woods. Now let's see what we can do with the Aviar. I don't think I need to put it on nearly as much flex. Maybe a little bit, but with the deep rim, it's coming out slightly wobbly, keeping it straight for me, which I know is bad, but I'm not gonna complain with a deep putter. That was actually decent. A lot shorter than the Tempo, hit that big, I'm assuming a maple tree, but it's inside circle 2 at least. Fortunately, I like backed right up to this tree to give my disc a flip and try to get a straddle putt at this. There we go, super, super nice. Like I said, the AviarX3, I don't hate it for putting just because I'm used to putting with a deep putter like the Pixel and the Ion. That's what I've always putted with it for the past 10 years up until the Pixel came out. So putting, fine. It's the off-the-tee stuff that I think is really going to help Big Jerm and anybody else that's interested in trying to make this switch. That lower profile and slightly faster speed, I think, is going to make the Tempo a little bit more versatile than the AviarX3. It's going to open up a wider range of shots, allowing you to get a little bit more distance out of it. Self-control, keep you at the same distance level as the AviarX3 as well, but both have very similar stabilities. And this one, with a touch more glide maybe, is able to keep it in the air longer and get some gnarly skip shots as well with the aggressive putter shape on the rim. But that's gonna wrap it up, guys. I wanna thank you guys for watching this quick comparison video of the Eclipse Tempo versus AviarX3, Big Jerm's previous signature disc. He's been loving the Tempo so far from all the media that I've seen, so I was super hyped to put this video together so you guys could see a side-by-side comparison of the two. If you wanna see more videos like this, be sure to drop a comment down below. I typically don't do comparisons with other brands' discs, but this one, it was a no-brainer. There's a lot of Innova fans thinking of trying some MVP discs because of Big Jerm, so the comparison I don't mind doing. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our MVP content, and we will see you on the next video.